In this video, I'm going to go over the biggest thing that you need to know in crypto right now. I'm actually going to start the video with it. This is Bitcoin on the daily chart. And it's just kind of like, this is a perfect reflection of markets. Kind of a little bit up, a little bit down, sentiment's up, sentiment's down. There's some hopium in there. There's a lot of bearishness as well, but people are kind of undecided. It's kind of like, man, we could really be bottoming out here. We could really be making a move to the upside. But then on that same daily chart, you start zooming out, and then there's kind of a more negative looking picture. It's kind of like, oh wow, we're in this longer term downtrend, and then you start realizing from a macro perspective, there's actually, you start seeing the picture, right? As you start zooming out, that this could continue to the downside, especially in this descending triangle. You start seeing that, right? And then you actually go to a weekly chart, and then you can see how bad it really looks. And then you're like, wow, we're actually in the middle of a freezing winter, a freezing bear market. And it's kind of like that hopium starts kind of going away a little bit. And so right now you see it's all a matter of perspective, and it's all a matter of what chart you're looking on, not to mention all the narratives that are going around and truly the real world news from a macroeconomic perspective, what's going on there. But we're in a bear market and it's freezing cold. But then we don't stop there and we say, okay, you know what? Let's actually zoom out on this chart. And then it's like, whoa, wait a second. Yeah, we are in a freezing cold bear market, but in the long term, there's something special going on here. And everybody, I can't stress this enough. This is the chart. If you want to succeed in crypto, this is the chart for you. I'm telling you, you can get into the day trading, you can get into all that good stuff, but it's 90+% of people fail at trying to do swing trading, momentum trading, day trading, whatever you want to call it. This is the macro chart. This is the zoomed out picture. And it tells such a more powerful, reliable story, and it allows us to plan in such a better way. So I just wanted to start with that. And there's an article over here on Nasdaq.com I just came across. This was from yesterday, but so good. Bull or bear market? Contradictory charts for the S&P 500 give no clear answers. It's a great article, actually, talking about how biases come into play, preconceptions come into play, and how often, everybody, you open up a Bitcoin chart, XRP chart, whatever chart you're opening, how often, if you're opening that with kind of a bullish mindset and you want to see something bullish, how often is it that you will see something bullish? And on the flip side, if you want to spot something bearish, you will spot something bearish. It's just these preconceptions play into this, and that's where things get dangerous. That's an emotional journey, and it's not a reliable thing. The thing about this article, though, I wanted to really point out is it ends pretty good. The obvious conclusion is that the charts, by telling us two things, tell us nothing. And that's the purpose of technical analysis, everybody. It's to view those two things and to get clarity on those two things. That, however, isn't strictly true. They both tell us that the market is poised to move. And that's true. We're always waiting for these big breakouts out of these patterns. Technical analysis does work from that perspective. That means that the two-way volatility we have seen recently with big intraday moves and reversals isn't over. And it also indicates that the next move will be about something other than the shape of the chart. So it's not all charts. And again, let's look at the macroeconomic landscape. Let's look at all of these things that we've been tracking. That something may be the scheduled speeches from FOMC members, the early earnings as the season get underway, developments in Ukraine, the real estate crisis in China, or any one of a number of other things. So let's always keep those things in mind as we kind of do dive into these charts and we dive into what is going on for Bitcoin and XRP. And let's just start for Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin zoomed out. And this is the first thing I need to lay out there for context is that 786, this macro 786 line. Everybody, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I continually say I don't think we're out of the bear market at all. I think there's absolutely so much likelihood that there's going to be a capitulation of some sort. Whether we get a rally first in October or not is yet to be seen. But I think there's going to be capitulation. I think this 786 line still needs to be broken before we start talking about the bear market bottom being in. This is a move that happened back there in 2018, and it's a move that happened back here in 2015. These are consistencies on the chart that I think are going to hold up, and I could be wrong at the end of the day. So be careful out there, everybody. But I will say this. This isn't technical analysis, or this isn't financial advice at all, but this technical analysis is my approach to the market. And my approach to the market is I want to be ready for those bear market lows. I want to be ready for that fear capitulation, and the charts, the technical analysis, they really help us get ready for that. So on Bitcoin, that's what I'm watching for. Notice the 20-week moving average crossing below the 200-week moving average. That could be a setup for that final capitulation. Even if Bitcoin gets a small little rally to the upside, hitting those moving averages and coming back down later in the year. Now, if we go over here to the daily chart, this is kind of where we're setting up. And I like how the article kind of mentioned this in kind of, in a sense, it mentioned this. Basically how two things at any given time can happen. And they both tell us that the market is poised to move. And when I look at a Bitcoin daily chart and I look at this setup and I look at this consolidation, that's what I see. I see Bitcoin kind of approaching the apex here. I see markets really just kind of bubbling and getting ready to move. I see next week's a big week across the board for traditional markets. So S&P 500, I think, going to be volatile as well. But right now on this daily chart, Bitcoin approaching this apex and kind of just in the middle too. It's very indecisive, testing the 20-day moving average to the upside. The biggest thing that I would be careful for is kind of a fake breakout. I would be careful when I'm looking at this pattern for this busted pattern, meaning Bitcoin does actually make a move to the upside. Maybe next week ends up being a green week and it's moving, and then it actually fails and we have a busted pattern in play going into sometime in November, right? And that's the thing about this. Like, these things, they take a while to play out. And whether we're looking at macro charts or even kind of more zoomed in daily triangles like this, these things take a while. So it's like, I can upload this video and we can talk about these things, but it takes a while for them to play out. That's why oftentimes I'll go and I'll revisit a video and we'll see, man, this was like a month, 2 months ago, we were talking about this and the move actually happened, but it took that long. And it took sideways trading and just nothing happening before it happened. So on Bitcoin, truly the areas to watch that I'm watching for right now is actually in a very short term, Bitcoin under this 50-day moving average. This is what we don't want to see. We want to see strong closes. It doesn't even have to break this trend line, but we want to see consistent closes above the 50-day moving average, not below. So right now, we have 10 hours left as I do this video, around 10 hours for Bitcoin on the daily candle. But this 50-day moving average, it's right around $20,000. So what an interesting area of confluent resistance, $20,000 for Bitcoin today. That's what I'm watching on the short term. And then to the downside, it's the 20-day moving average, right around 19,300 or so. So we're a few $100s away from basically both areas. So on Bitcoin, that's what I'll be watching in the very short term. But if these two areas break in either direction, obviously we know what's in play next. We have these trend lines. Upper trend line sitting right now above Bitcoin around 20,700, and this lower trend line all the way down here, mid 18,000s. And that's a really big area for Bitcoin, especially as we talk about that longer term capitulation. If Bitcoin's falling out of this triangle, that's something we need to be very, very careful of. So that's what I'm watching on Bitcoin today. Obviously, keeping an eye on the US dollar currency index. It's just kind of on the daily. You can see that candle a little indecisive right now as well. We go to a 6 hour. This is probably something, if you're really interested in the short term, you want to watch this chart. What's happening right here, even on the 6 hour? What's up with this wick? Is it getting a bit of resistance? Because if it is, and if this actually, in a few hours, this next candle closes or opens red and starts going red, we might actually see a little bit of a rally for Bitcoin to test these areas of resistance we just discussed. XRP looking interesting because I just think there's this. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you're out there and you're still watching this video, if you're an XRP holder, hit that like. I'm a new XRP holder, and it's just very fun to track. But tell me if I'm wrong. Out of all of crypto, XRP kind of has this bullish undertone to it, right? There's this bullish sentiment, and that has a lot to do, obviously, with everything going on, the case with the SEC. So right now, though, it's just like any other chart, and we have to view it that way, right? So we're also in this ascending triangle here on the daily, but it's a very clear looking chart here on the 6 hour chart. We've got some higher lows right here, and we've got this kind of clear area of just upper trend line resistance. Now I have this dotted line here because I just see this symmetrical triangle as well. Now what's really cool about it is we've gotten the break out of the symmetrical triangle with a resistance at this upper trend line of the ascending triangle. And look at this. What's truly in play for XRP right now is, yeah, we have the breakout. We have a breakout target up here, like close to 70 cents. But here's what's happening. Breakout out of this symmetrical triangle is happening, but there's that resistance. And we're getting potentially this throwback to two areas, actually three areas, a very confluent area that I would be watching for. This is the biggest thing I'm watching for XRP. And it's these three areas. Number one, it's this trend line. We always look for throwbacks to trend lines, right? And look, it's slowly starting to happen. If it plays out, we'll continue to track. That's one, though, the trend line. Number two is this lower trend line of both of these triangles. So very confluent area right now because the apex is really just, it's right there. And then number three, right now we're on the 6-hour chart. I want to go over here. This is the daily chart. Check out number three. This is another confluent area. We have the 200-day moving average, and we have the 20-day moving average meeting almost exactly at this lower trend line. Insane confluent area of support for XRP, right around 46, 47 cents. Right now, you go over to this chart, and you can just see XRP is sitting right around 48, 49 cents. And at the end of the day, this is the name of the game, everybody. Bitcoin, XRP, whatever crypto you're holding, whatever crypto you're just like, man, I wish you would do TA on that. Whatever it is, they're really waiting for equity markets. They're waiting to see, well, what's S&P 500 doing? And you can even see right now, going over to S&P, we have we're 15 minutes in or so here, and we have a new candle. Right now we're red, right? So and you can just see if we go over Bitcoin, even as I'm doing this video, you can see how Bitcoin reacts to that, right? And then you go to the US dollar and currency index, and you start viewing that as well. And then you bring in all the headlines and this article and everything it was just talking about, these two directions, and bringing in your biases and all this. It becomes very real. And that's why this is a very mental game as we track these things. But on XRP, obviously, if there's going to be a bullish environment, I think XRP is probably one of the most poised for just an epic breakout. But again, we're also testing just above critical support levels, just the same as Bitcoin. So be very careful out there. I have it in the scrolling text below. This game is mental, everybody. Sit back, realize the options, realize nobody knows what's going to happen next, and make your decisions based off of that. You'll make sound, wise decisions. And it's always different for everybody. We have different portfolios. We're all doing different things out here. But just do that, and you'll feel more comfortable, I think, with your approach. Again, this is my approach. This is data. This is not financial advice. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. I hope you have a great day and a great start to your weekend. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.